Okay, as I stated in my previous episode, today we are going to speak on the topic of the old soul, and you will see, hopefully, you will see and understand that I am indeed classified as an old soul. And maybe you are too, based on the descriptions that the entity Michael claims is the quality or essences of the old soul. The motto of the old soul is, you do what you want to, and I'll do what I want. Here recently, I have incorporated a similar motto. I'll do what I want to, when I want to, where I want to, and how I want to, any damn time I please. And that's my motto. So let's continue on. There is a change of pace here. In previous cycles, the soul was not drawn to the search with the same intensity that it is in the old cycles. There is a newer and more profound creativity which is part of the search. Now the search that they are talking about is a search for knowledge, for wisdom, enlightenment. The old soul perceives others as a part of something greater that includes itself. And with this comes the realization that there are no problems except those created by false personality as a defense. However, it is difficult for old souls to break these patterns because old souls more often than not seek the route of least resistance. Now, I attempt to do that, but the resistance is always there. Why? Because I show reality. Okay? The realities of things as they are. The older soul usually enjoys hard manual labor throughout my lifetime, regardless of, you could even classify it as a light industrial, light assembly, light this, light that, and no, I'm sorry, but every job that I have had in my lifetime, and it's been a lot, has involved heavy lifting, hard labor, repetitious movements. After all, I was also, for many, many years, involved in weightlifting, and which that is hard labor. Okay, so the older soul usually enjoys hard manual labor, but seldom works as an artisan. It may or may not seek higher education. I got fed up with school back when I was in high school. And as I have related before, I used to skip classes just so I could go down to the school library and research the subjects that were of my interest and not of the curriculum, the programming. If pressure is exerted by the guru, it will, or if it senses that its task somehow involves the necessity for obtaining the proper credentials. For this reason, many old souls are gardeners. I have a green thumb, and always have had. Young souls with fabulous estates pay them well to exercise this inborn talent. The money thus gained is used in the mid-casual body to perpetuate its influence on the physical plane. There is another aspect to this. The old soul, at a deeper level, realizes the futility and temporary nature of material achievements and therefore lacks the drive to accomplish this. They are all extremely competent, even in roles that are out of essence. The drive now is for spiritual evolution in all old souls. Therefore, they are inclined to let the rest slide. Any one of them could achieve anything they wish to, but more often than not, old souls choose to have lives in which the usual working world and survival struggle will not touch them. In their work, they tend to choose an occupation that is pleasant or not particularly demanding, so that they will be free to pursue their real goals without hardship, unless the employment aids the search. For that reason, final level old souls rarely seek remunerative employment for any period of time. With every employment position that I've had, you have usually a 90-day probationary period, and within that 90 days I have learned all that I needed to learn about that position, and therefore I gained boredom. I get bored very easy because of repetition. The daily grind. Is it really worth it? Especially when what you supposedly earn does not wind up in your pocket. Okay, let's continue on. The religion of the old souls is expansive and includes orthodox rituals, or unorthodox rituals. Groves of trees become cathedrals, and the presence of the realized masters is often felt by older souls. The synthesis is perceived in the final cycle, and old souls seldom cling to dogma. The old soul is casual about sex in the earlier levels because erotic love begins to lose its charm. In the final level, and I won't tell you how long it's been since I have been romantically involved. Again, boredom. The old soul often does not participate for lack of purpose. Sex adds nothing to its life. The old soul is intensely sensual, however, and does not enjoy close physical contact. Many people have come to realize that when they go to, pat me on the back or even shake my hand, a lot of times they will back off. It's like I have an invisible force field around me. There's vibrations that essentially throws an invisible sign on me that says do not touch. Yet that is my pleasure when it comes to sensuality, that of touch, and not really that of the lovemaking, or sex I should say. Because after all, sex adds nothing to its life. The old soul is usually an experienced and exciting partner for souls in an earlier cycle, but can be a very disappointing lover because of its nonchalance. In other words, if you're an old soul, you're better off to be connected with yet another old soul because there is more vibrational energies that you have in common. Old souls are casual cooks. They use recipes as guidelines rather than as gospel. They tend to use spices and herbs freely and will cut mold from cheese and rotten spots from fruit rather than throw the food away. And believe you me, people, if I can find a use for food, it does not wind up in the garbage. I do not like throwing good food away. Old souls feel at home with living things. Winemaking is an ancient art. Most vintners are older souls and may have been vintners before, returning to that art most gladly. They can indulge their penchant for gardening, make a living, and avoid that rat race at the same time. We have told this group once that most older souls do find comfort, and they have affinities for other creatures. Most older souls inspire confidence in the animals, and the animals respond quite naturally to this. Have I not been proving that? Some older souls even find that this affinity extends to wild and fearful animals. Several in this group have demonstrated this. Any bad experience with animals at an early age will cause some abhorrence. The older soul does not generally extend beyond this offending species, nor does it reach the phobic stage, as in the case of primary experiences dating back to previous lives. I have no fear of animals, large or small, at least land-based. Not real familiar with the ocean-based ones, and I don't want to be. But there's even more reasons for that, which I will not go into at this point in time. Now get this, most shaggy dogs belong to old souls. Old souls begin to relate to wild animals and often have an affinity for all living creatures. Old souls ride the trails. What old souls do not understand yet is that they are all caught up in a device that is the last gathering together. This is what the old soul cycle is all about. All old souls come at last to philosophy and the arts. Some come more obnoxiously than others, but they come nevertheless. All over the world, their entity fragments are searching for that feeling of home. Are you one that has never felt at home? And possibly even in your own body? They claim that where you lay your head, you call home. Well, even at that, I have always felt homeless. Regardless of where I have been, regardless of the shape or style of roof over my head, I have never felt at home. And there's been a yearning to go home. That is one of the biggest signs of the old soul. Feeling that you don't fit in and that you have never fit in, but yet you have always been included, regardless of what clique or group it may have been. You are always on the outside looking in, yet all the while also on the inside. Some do not know what it is that they search for, but they do experience the emptiness. That is the definition of the old soul according to Michael. Now, remember, Michael is the name of a fragment of one of the souls that belongs within the entity. Now then, they claim Michael the entity. They claim we are many. Legion. Is that a bad thing? Do you remember the story of Jesus and those that called themselves Legion? We'll go into that in our next episode. We will be speaking of the man called Jesus and what the entity tells us about that person. Stay tuned for that episode. You may open your eyes just a little bit wider.